now that we have quantities and costs for all our work items, and of course building components and resources as well, it's time to see how we check our estimate. The Summary tab on the left helps you see the total cost of the entire project and also its division by resource types. You can see how the costs are divided into your classification system, and remember, these are based on the code given to your work items. You can also crop your bill of quantities by clicking these headers in the classification system, for example. If I click on foundation and walls, only work items that start with the code 22 are shown. And when you have a cropping active, you see the total cost of listed work items here. You can remove the cropping by clicking this. And you can also have multiple croppings at the same time, like this. You can see the division of your costs by location, and in addition to that, you can also use the columns here to check whether all your rows, for example, have quantities by changing the order in which the work items are. For example, I here have 4 work items without any quantities, and if I turn this the other way around, I can see that the rebarring are my largest quantities. Another good way to check is checking the total costs to see which work items are the most expensive and whether there are still some work items without any costs, like I do. To get this back into the correct order, you can click on the code to make it back to the order of classification system. As I showed in the previous video, you can still use the flags and the check marks to notify, for example, other estimators that these rows still need work. And like in the previous estimate, you can use the cropping feature here to show only those rows that have the flag, for example. If you want to see quantities by location, you should use the Functions tab, where you can sort by location, for example. In this way, you get these little headers in your work item list, and you can see that the first floor has these work items and these quantities, and the second floor has these, and then the basement has these. Some work items are still in the default location. You can also add columns in your Functions tab by clicking, for example, this Show Total Price by Resource Type, and then checking all these boxes for each resource class. I'll close the summary to get a little bit more room, so you can see that I now have my materials, subcontracts, rentals, and others here. As a quick side note, you can also use this window to give prices for different work items. So if you do your cost estimation using unit price, this might be a nice feature to know. However you set your window to look like, you can also print it out as displayed on screen into an Excel. So if I now have grouped these by location, I can get an Excel that looks like this. So now we have a bill of quantities by location that you can use, for example, for scheduling purposes or procurement purposes or just logistics on the site. We are still working on making the headers other than finish. Sorry about those, but still most of the information is already good, so feel free to use these as well.